Arrests have been made, but not one person has been convicted of violating Portland's public urban camping ban. You got nothing. Are we shocked by this? No. How bad are the details? Let's get into it. Here we go.
This is a tool to help address problems that are already, creating police calls and calls for service. And the hope is that we'll be able to offer services, offer other options.
The city of Portland says its time, place, and manner camping rules will be picked back up November 1st, months after the city stopped issuing citations without warning.
The city of Portland says its time, place, and manner camping rules will be enforced once again. The ordinance was first approved by City Council in May 2024 and went into effect later that July. By January 2025, a total of 9 citations were issued, but the ordinance seemingly went on pause as the total number of citations through this past August stood still at 9, something City Councilor Eric Zimmerman brought up at a homelessness and housing committee meeting in August.
You stopped the enforcement of time, place, manner. And yet we don't really use time, place, manner a lot, but it was described a lot in the last administration as being important to have at least a backstop.
Mayor Wilson says the pause was due to wanting enough shelter and resources at the ready before going forward with the ordinance.
You're seeing a slow, methodical approach to a plan that's not reactionary, that's not draconian, but you're seeing a stepped process of us re-engaging and improving livability, but providing access to care as our primary first response.
So what will enforcement really look like?
This is not a situation where we're going to just start going out and arresting a bunch of people simply for being homeless.
As she mentioned, going back to last year, former Mayor Ted Wheeler's office began enforcing a ban on homeless camps July 1st of 2024, which introduced a $100 fine and or up to a week in jail if unhoused people refused access to alternate shelter.
People experiencing homelessness in Portland have been cited for violating the ban, but not penalized. I mean, this is Portland, Oregon. Right? It's like Seattle, Washington. You're not gonna arrest and prosecute anybody. Hey, you're homeless. I mean, they make homelessness as easy as humanly possible here in the state of Washington. Literally, right now, state of Washington has a bill going through that basically makes homelessness legal throughout the state, because in order to sweep encampments, you have to have this really strict criteria of places available, shelter available to the homeless that no shelter is going to be able to meet up to. So you're never going to sweep a homeless encampment. That is policy going through in Washington's legislature right now. And it's kind of pushback on the U.S. Supreme Court saying, nope, it's not cruel and unusual punishment to sweep somebody from public area. That is not cruel and unusual punishment. It does not violate constitutional rights. So now Washington State's coming up with this genius concept, which just basically allows homelessness is going to be able to flourish wherever, however, in individual cities, because it's a state law, or will be a state law, won't be able to do sweeps the way that they want to. It'll be taken out of their hands because there's going to have to be this shelter available to these folks that, includes having your pets with you, having your partner with you, having all your physical belongings with you, that's never going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You're looking for chaos there. It's not going to happen. And they know it. The legislators know that. So, you've got Portland doing one thing, which is saying they're going to arrest people. But let's take a look at what that actually looks like. Okay, here we go. Case delayed due to public defendant shortage. 6. Got 21 people that have been arrested. Defendant didn't show up to court. That's 8 of them. Charge dismissed by county prosecutor. 7. So we got a bunch of no-shows. We've got dismissals, and then we've got delayed because they can't seem to get a public defendant. Public defenders are on a massive shortage in so many cities, but particularly in the Oregon area. Because who wants to be a public defendant and have to work on this kind of stuff, right? I mean, it's part of your job, but you're not getting paid a lot. And who wants to go to law school for that unless you're going to become a politician? We know how that goes as well, right? Let's kind of run through some of these things. It's been just over 2 months since Portland police began ticketing people for camping on public property. Now the impact of the city's new penalty has had on the criminal justice and those ticketed is beginning to come into focus. It's a deterrent on some level, but it has no teeth. If it had the teeth of, well, we're going to arrest you, we're going to put you in jail, like the law says, or give you $100 fine, I think it was. What homeless person in their right mind, I got to pay that fine? You betcha. What percentage of folks in the homeless industrial complex that are the victims, the urban campers, have criminal outstanding warrants for their arrest? At least a quarter. At least a quarter is what we know. 20 people have been charged with violating the rule, but court delays and missed court appearances have kept the citations from advancing. In all cases, those charged with the crimes have been released back into the public. Shocker. No one has spent time in jail. Nobody spent time in jail. I mean, we knew this would be the end result because this is Portland. This is Portland. They're okay with their constituents literally dying on the sidewalk or in the gutter as long as they have their civil liberties still intact, which means you can't involuntarily put them in mental health care treatment. You can't involuntarily put them into substance abuse treatment, and you certainly can't put them into jail. Oh, that's a huge no-no. Even though San Francisco, which has been the poster child for how not to handle homelessness in the past, they are now literally going down the road of involuntary, holding people against their will in a mental facility. They're going down that road right now. San Francisco's had, on mass scale, they've had homelessness to deal with. And they have actually done a pretty good job. Daniel Lurie there has done a pretty good job on kind of reeling some of that back in. These results aren't surprising to people familiar with the county's court challenges, but the early data casts doubt on the purpose of enforcement. What's the point, you might ask? That would be a good question, which Mayor Keith Wilson has made central to his signature plan. Enforcement is accomplishing what I think the underlying goal of the citations is, which is to allow the police to go into homeless camps and clear people out. Are they doing that? Are they doing that on a regular basis? At least Portland hasn't stopped the sweeps. And in Washington State, I think we stopped the sweeps entirely. And then we really get to find out what homelessness looks like. Because remember during the pandemic what happened? CDC said don't sweep any of the encampments, might spread the Rona, might spread the China flu. Everyone referred it to as that because it came from China. But I digress. But it does not address the underlying issue, he added. They're just going somewhere else and setting up. They're simply moving around the problem. And that's why, this whole whack-a-mole thing of sweeping the encampments is whack-a-mole, but it's also a deterrent to, hey, getting comfortable, getting a couch in your encampment, getting an above-ground pool, all that good stuff that we know has historically happened, right? Massive collection of lawnmowers on the sidewalk. Oh, yeah. Ballard, Washington. And Ballard, Washington right now is where the homeless encampment was supposed to have been swept. Katie Wilson, our new socialist mayor, said, nope. We need to find out if there's other options that could be had for our urban campers. We're not taking any single factor as a sign of victory any more than we take a single factor as a sign of failure. That's some political doublespeak for you, isn't it? It's like, okay, what are you actually saying? A new enforcement system. This is kind of part 2 of the article. Portland's camping policy prohibits people from tent camping or staying in a vehicle on public property. Private property is fine. So just go find yourself a house. Yeah, terrible, right? Like sidewalks, parks, streets, and other public areas. If reasonable shelter is available, if shelter is not available, the policy limits what people can do while camping. For instance, there are prohibitions on using a propane heater, Digging into the ground? Oh, you can't dig open pit mining style? Huh, weird. Start a fire? Okay. Fire in the homeless encampments has just been, we know what that drill looks like. Building a structure or blocking access to private property while camping. You mean setting up in a massive encampment? Okay. All right. People who violate these rules can be issued a citation, a charge that comes with a fine of up to $100 or up to a week in jail. You know what? That's just not happening. So why did we go down this road? Well, because it's kind of hey, we're not entirely allowing this to happen. But we also, we want to be careful. We want to be careful that we don't violate anybody's civil rights. So we're going to say that we're arresting people. And there's arrests have been made. But the end result, it's kind of like most criminal activity that happens in Washington State and in state like Portland, where city like Portland and a state like Oregon, where you might have people get arrested. Judicial system isn't going to do anything to them. They know it, and they know it, right? They absolutely know it. According to Cody Bowman, the spokesperson for Mayor Wilson, Portland police focus on enforcing the rule in areas of town where camping has turned into a chronic problem. They're trying to clean up the downtown core. That's bottom line, because that impacts their tax revenue so greatly. So it's going into effect November 1st. Many people have agreed to move to a city shelter instead of receiving a citation. All right, positive step. It's unknown if the people return to camping in public after a night in a shelter, because that's the deal, right? If you spend one night in shelter, and you've come from the homeless encampment, that is counted as a success story. Yeah, they accepted housing. Check. But they might be gone the next morning. Man, this shelter sucks. I don't want to be here. This shelter absolutely bites. So they take off and then, they've got that statistic. Government officials will just take that statistic. Oh, we're winning the war. We are winning the war on homelessness. And what's the harsh reality? You've just recycled them in and out of the system. A dead end in the courts. Talked about that, the 21 cases. You got that pie chart. It's not good because all three mean people aren't really getting the help that they need. So Chief Criminal Court Judge Michael Greenlock, who oversees the operations of the county's criminal court system, said he's not surprised. Oh yeah, it's pretty normal. It does largely line up with what I predicted, said Greenlock. Before police began enforcement in November, Greenlock told OPB, the Oregon Public Broadcasting, that people experiencing homelessness were anecdotally less likely to appear for a court date. Huh! You don't say. They just don't give a rat's ass, do they? No, they don't, because what are you going to do? You're going to put them in jail? Well, that's literally what you arrested them for. We're going to put you in jail unless you accept shelter. No teeth. No teeth. That can be due to multiple hurdles facing people without a home, from lack of transportation and not having a place to safely store their belongings. This notion of you got to have a place to store your belongings. Okay, all right, but where do you draw that line? Do they get to take their couch with them? Do they get to take the big 2x8 or 2x12? They've been, building up their homeless encampment with? Crazy. According to data collected by the state, more than 1,000 people facing criminal charges in Multnomah County are waiting for an attorney. And so many of them will just get kicked to the street. There you go. Get out there and commit that crime again because they don't have enough public defenders. And if XYZ number of days goes by and they don't have attorneys for them, out they go. What a crazy system that is. You don't have enough attorneys to run the program. You don't have enough cops running around. You don't have enough attorneys. You've got judges that aren't incarcerating people. I mean, it's no wonder that urban camping is as successful as it is, right? I don't think there's any interest in putting people in jail in these situations. It's a semi-coercive way to get people to accept help or shelter. You got to threaten them with something. Hey, you're going to jail, even though they're like, no, I'm not. And even if I am, it's not going to be very long. Maybe I'll get my own cell. Who knows, right? Better than the shelter system. Think about that. You're in jail. You kind of just hunker down, hang out. Yeah, you might be in there with some lowlifes, but you're going to be in with lowlifes in the shelter system anyway. So, I'm not making an argument for, hey, go to jail. It's better. We're very committed to redirecting people into shelter. We will dismiss a case at any point prior to trial if you've shown you've tried to address your houselessness. Okay. What I'll say is at least Portland has this, even though it's not effective and it's not going to work. It's going in the right direction. Hey, you say you're going to, arrest for urban camping? Okay. All right. That is better than Washington State, and Oregon and Portland eventually will end up better because you're going in that direction of you can't just sleep willy-nilly wherever you want to in our community. You can't do that. Whereas Washington State is going in the wrong direction. Seattle's new mayor, no more sweeps. State legislators, no more sweeps. What's that going to look like in Washington? I mean, if you're in Portland, you're going to come to Washington because you're not going to get swept. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I am not wrong. Homeless folks go to where they've got the best deal. That means the most benefits, easiest lifestyle, no sweeps. Washington State, make us proud because it's coming. Almost guarantee you this is coming. All right, that's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. Love to have you subscribe. I'll catch up with you in the next episode. Bye for now.